Okay, so in the last video we set up our user profile screen and we have our form and we're filling it with the name and the email from the details. Now we want to give functionality to this form, so we'll just keep this profile screen open, but we want to go to our constants, and in our user constants here we're going to have user update request success and fail. So I'm going to copy all this. And I'm going to copy this down one more time because I want to have user update reset so that we can reset the state. So user update reset, and let's change all of these to update. Oops. Or let's say update profile. That makes more sense. And then this will be update profile reset. Okay. So we have those. Let's close that up. Let's go to our reducer. You guys know the drill. So user reducer, and I'm going to copy this. And what we want to call this is user update profile reducer. And let's replace these details with update underscore profile. We want to bring these in. So for this, let's clear this out. We just want empty state to begin with. Then we want just loading true. And then on success, we're going to set user info to the payload. And then I'm also going to set a success value. Actually, I'll put it over here. So let's set success to true because we're going to use that in our screens. So success true, user info is set to the payload, and then on fail we set our error. So let's save that. What do we got here? User update profile success is not defined. Make sure that all that stuff was brought in. Okay, so now let's go to our actions. So user actions, and I'm going to copy get user details, and let's paste that in, and let's call this update user profile. And then this is going to take in the entire user object. So we're going to pass in user, pass in get state here because we do need to send a token. Let's change this to user update profile. So it's going to dispatch the request, and then here we're going to get our user info, and then in our config we're going to pass in the token just like we did above. Now the request is going to be a put request, and it's going to be to API/users. No, what are we doing? API users profile. And then as a second argument, we're going to pass in the user object because that's the data we want to update with. And then we want the success. So let's change both of these to update profile. And we're going to bring these in. Okay, and the payload here is going to be the data that comes back. So we should be good. Let's save that. And now we should be able to dispatch that in our profile screen. So back in our profile screen, so I'm going to bring in the use. Oh, we need to add it to the store. That's right. So we created a new reducer, so we need to bring that in. User update profile reducer, and let's set user update profile user update profile reducer. Now in our profile screen here, let's bring in the action update user profile, and we want to dispatch that right down here in our submit handler. So let's replace this with dispatch, and we want to call update user profile, and that takes in the user object. So I'm going to pass in an object here, and I'm going to set ID to user dot underscore ID, and then name, email, and password. Okay, so that's the user object that we want to pass into the action once it's submitted. Now, when it's submitted, I want it to show a message that says that it's been updated. So we can get the success value from the update user profile state. So I'm just going to copy one of these, and let's change this to user update profile, and I just want to get the success value. And then what I'll do is go down to where we're showing our messages, and I'll just copy this down, and let's say if success, then we want to show a message, but I want it to be a variant of success and success. Okay, so we'll save that. So now we should be all set. Once we call the submit handler by submitting the form, it's going to dispatch update user profile. We're going to pass in the user, and that's going to call this action here. It's going to pass in the user here. We're going to get our token, add our token to the header. We're going to make our request to our backend, a put request to user's profile, pass the user data in, and on success, it'll send down the state if it's successful, and it should show the message. So that's hopefully what will happen. So let's go back, and I just want to open up my Redux tools here. And let's say we want to change the name to just John Doe. So I'm going to say update. So it looked like everything went correctly, except we're not seeing anything in there, and that's because I put success in here, which is just a true or false, or true, I should say. So let's put a message in here that just says profile updated. All right, and you can see that it's John Doe, and if I reload, it's still John Doe. Change it back to Doe, and now it says profile updated. All right, if we want to change the email address to just like joe@example, that changes it. Now if we log out, we'll have to log back in with this email, so I want to make sure that I change it back to its original. All right, and I guess we'll go ahead and test the password out. So we'll change it to 1 through 5. And now if I log out and I try to log in with john@example.com with 1 2 3 4 5 6, the original password, it doesn't work because I changed it. So I'll log in with that, and I'm just going to change it back to 1 through 6, update, log out, John. All right, so now that we have our login, register, we can update our profile. I want to go back to the cart, okay, because we want to be able to, add something to the cart. Now that I'm logged in, if I click proceed to checkout, it goes to shipping. Okay, remember when we were logged out, so I still have the stuff in my cart. If I proceed to checkout now, it asks me to sign in because of that redirect that we set. Okay, so that's the functionality we want. So in the next section, we're going to add the shipping screen. We're going to add the place order screen. We actually have two sections of videos that are going to be related to the whole checkout process, including the payment with PayPal and setting the payment method and all that stuff. So that's what we'll start in the next video in the next section.